for your help. Let's think about for a minute. Fears tend to manifest themselves in nightmares and phobias. What are some of the phobias that people develop that are common among people? Fear of heights comes first. Matter of fact, that's mine. Closed spaces. Very good, absolutely. Fear of missing out. That's a good one.
Fear of
Being
spiders.
left out, even, right? What was it? Here?
Spiders.
Spiders. I saw a spider
All bugs.
last night. I was ready to throw a rope around it. Was it, Ruth?
I just said all bugs. Here,
All bugs. Any bugs, yeah. Especially certain ones.
Those are
You won't get in there. Absolutely.
my favorite phobia to hear about is one that ducks are watching you. There's a fear that there are ducks watching you. It has a name. I don't.
That's awesome.
Or there's nothing else. They're just watching.
It's, yeah. Not just ducks thing.
Speaking in front of people.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one, yeah. So I've had some of those. Now I'm not saying these are yours, right? You're not saying these are yours. I didn't ask for that.
Something duck thing.
Yeah.
Afraid of.
How about Indiana Jones? What was his? Anybody remember?
Snakes.
Yeah. Spiders and snakes. There used to be a novelty song, Ray Stevens. I don't like spiders and snakes. Very good. They're so common, we just come right out with them. We all know them, right? You know, it might be like Charlie Brown. Remember Charlie Brown? He went to Lucy to be his counselor. Now there's a big mistake right there off the bat, right? You just don't go to Lucy to be your counselor, right? I mean, she's verbally abusive. She's emotionally abusive. She pulls the football back at the last second, right, when Charlie Brown goes to kick it. You know, and he falls on his back every time. You know, I promise this time I won't pull the football away, and he goes for it every time. I still wonder why, like, everybody else the first name suffices. It's Lucy, right, it's Linus, but it's always Charlie Brown. He has to have the last name attached. I wonder why that is. You know, so she says, "You're afraid of this? I don't know. Are you afraid of that? I don't know. You're afraid of that? I don't know. You might have panophobia." He says, "What's that?" She said, "Fear of everything." He said, "That's it." We got a lot of fears. So we think about nightmares. But I always had a fear of heights. So, you know, 10 feet high was a little too high for me off the ground. It's my excuse for not dumping a basketball. You know, yeah, if you just get up a ladder, the top of a 12-foot ladder is terrifying to me growing up. Speaking in front of people. So how about that? I think about, I always had I was at the beach all day yesterday. My friend Greg from New York, I went to school with. We meet every September, usually down the shore, and we spend a day together. We block it out and we catch up. We process our lives together. We've been friends since 1983, so, you know, whatever that is. So, you know, it's good to have long-term friends, and I thank God for them. And I've been at the beach, you know, I've been on the beach all my life, and I heard as a little boy about, which one of the things I was lost, so, you know, fear of being missing even, right? So I remember being lost on the beach among, it seemed like, you know, the throngs. There was no way to find my family, you know. I was 3 years old, I think, so I still remember that. But I remember hearing about tsunamis, that these giant waves that could come and engulf you. And we didn't have the disaster movies yet. This is before the disaster movies. But I didn't need them. I had it all in my mind, conjured up a 100-foot wave coming at me as I'm on the beach. And I'm like, do I go under it, or, you know, I don't have a choice, right? So it's just always through my life I've had that, and I still, of course, I see actual video, right, of tsunamis now. So I actually still get tsunami nightmares at times. So I think about these ideas of how to overcome fears. It just shows us there are fears inside of us that we do need to overcome. raging seas, waves, and surging tides sweep over me, the psalmist says. Maybe you had the same nightmares, I don't know. They say our dreams reveal desires, conflicts, and fears, right? So what is it about being over our head? If you've ever gone out in the ocean and then you are over your head and you're being pulled in a rip tide, right? In a rip current. You can't get back to get your feet on the ground, right? So now it's pretty much, people are being educated. You swim diagonally or sideways. You know, some of them they say just ride it out till you're past it, and then you can swim sideways. I'm like, no, I'm gonna start swimming sideways now. I'm gonna wait till go. I don't get 300 feet away, 300 yards out, whatever, you know. But the mistake, of course, is to swim against it, exhaust yourself. So the idea of being over your head in water can be scary, right? You can't touch bottom. You know, you're only going to last so long without an oxygen tank. Could that be a sort of a fear of being overwhelmed that we call, you know, we're in over our head with responsibility, with commitments, with stress? If we get overextended, I have a fear of being overextended, but it's a healthy fear. And I do my best to protect against commitments that I cannot keep. And so yet I have the nightmares of being over my head, that the waves sweep over me. And in the end, when I think about my dirty laundry pile and go through it with the Lord, and get off the anger and the worries, you know, and the anxieties, they're at the bottom is fear, beneath everything. So I need the Lord to show me that, of course, as I do that. Search my heart, you know, see if there be any wicked way in me. What is there the Spirit can show us, right? If we open it up, shine the light down into the darker recesses of our heart, our soul, and there's fear. And then I have to ask the question, what am I afraid of? Because, you know, just like Charlie Brown goes to Lucy, could it be everything, but what's really the most, right? So in the end, I have an image of myself on a curb with a suitcase packed with all my things. And nowhere to go. And nowhere to help me. I share this with my relapse prevention class at City Team where I work. You know, they're like, dude, man, you got problems. I'm like, oh, wait till you get the flashlight turned on down in the darker recesses of your soul. You'll find some problems down there too. As soon as your brain starts drying up. That's what happens. So, you know, it's a natural fear. We see David remarks, I've never seen the godly abandoned or their children begging for bread. That's a fear I don't have to have, and yet the antidote to fear is God's promise. And we have to look at that. We're going to talk about how we look at that in a minute. I think about this, don't let money, be satisfied with what you have. How many people are afraid of running out of money? I have a friend, he says, I'm broke, man, I have nothing. I got it, $3,000 left in the bank. And, you know, it's like, we just, in his mind, that could vanish in an instant. If I get sick and I can't work, boom, it's gone. That's true. It's kind of true about a lot of us. God has said, isn't it funny, it's addressing the fear of running out of money, not having enough. We all bump up against that, no doubt, don't we? For the most part. But I've never, God has said. Now, there's some pretty cool 3 words. God has said. What did God say? I'll never fail you. That means He'll never let you down. I will never let you down. I will never abandon you. You know, I think about if we take all our fears, from heights to spiders and snakes to tsunamis, we can boil them all down to that curb and suitcase, because they all come down to that bottom fear of abandonment. And nothing has ceased except what's just common to man, 1 Corinthians 10:13. We all have the same struggle in our soul, deep down. We're all the same. You might not believe that, but it's true. And we have these, I'm going to show you how, all right? Why are we afraid of spiders? Well, they're so alien. They got 8 legs. They walk so funny. But they can do something else too, maybe. Crawl on us while we're sleeping. Maybe bite us. Some spiders poison us. What about snake? I'm so afraid of snake. They're strange, you know, they're long. They got no legs, no arms, you know. How do they even do anything? I don't know. Freaky looking, you know, how they slither. There's more than that, though, right? What's the worst thing about a snake? Yeah, they bite. Yeah, that's the same we have about everything, right? Don't worry, I don't bite. He doesn't bite, you know. Famous last words about my dog doesn't bite, right? Some people grow up with fear of dogs. I had an aunt grow up with fear of dogs. She got bit when she was a kid. Spiders, snakes, dogs, they bite. And they can have poisonous, poison in their venom, poisonous venom, I was thinking of, in their fangs. They can kill. We end up on a curb with a suitcase, nowhere to go, and nobody to help us. We're not going to last long. I died now malnourished. Well, nothing than that. Before that, more likely, mugger's going to come along and finish me off. They all end in death. And yet, it's not the fear of death alone. It's the fear of death and being abandoned and then dying. Like some of the bumper stickers. And then you die. Then what? That's the problem. See, they all boil down to fear of abandonment, past death. So, just as the author of Hebrews quotes the Deuteronomy, quotes the Psalms, 118th Psalm, so or therefore we can say, because why? What's the word so therefore? God has said. Right? See that? So or therefore we can say. God has said, so we can say with confidence. I love that expression the apostle uses. Or these New Testament writers. With confidence. How about that? Can you say with confidence, the Lord is my helper, so I will have no fear. What can your people do to me? Now there's a little extra in there. Spiders, snakes. It's funny we never said people. Evil people. The Proverbs warns over and over, stay away from them. They'll take everything you have, including your life. Huh. But we are all sharing a fear of being close to people, I suggest. I wonder, to one degree or another. We might, in fact, have the problem with closeness, with that lack of closeness being part of our fears of abandonment. And in fact, we lack closeness because we don't have the trust there to be close. So one of the things of, if you go to a counselor other than Lucy, they'll say, play the tape forward. What's that mean? Well, play it out. What are you afraid of? What's the worst thing that can happen then? Well, then this might happen, and that might happen. Then in the end, I might die. Then what? Right? So we know we need God more than anything because we all know we're going to die. You know, We don't like to think about it. So we have so much that goes on beneath the surface that is unconscious, that we think but subconscious. Comes out in our dreams. You say, I got an unconscious thinking. When you're dreaming, are you conscious or unconscious? You're unconscious, and yet your mind's working. Your brain's still on. And these things come out. So we've got this, this problem with closeness with God that gets in the way when we think about that. You know, I think of that Kenny Chesney song, everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to go now. Ever think about that, was it? You know, you really want to go, but not aware now. Why? We trust, we have a little trouble with trusting, you know, eye has not seen nor has ear heard the things God has prepared for them. You know, we think, I'm playing harp on a cloud all day long. Probably watch an Eagles game or something. Did they get the NFL Network up there? You know, we get all these things. We're so attached to the things of this world, to the things of this earth, that take the place of closeness to God. Isn't that possibly part of our resistance or wariness, our hesitation to go to heaven right now? I said this to my friend yesterday. He said, we're going to run out in front of an Amtrak. I said, well, no, those days are over. It's just, you know, maybe you know, what's our values, right? So, closeness to God, you know, you tend to have distrust instead. You distrust His ways. We like to try our ways. What He says is pleasure. We like to do what we want to do. Could our problem be we tend to play God? God does whatever He pleases, the Psalm says, right? And we want to do whatever we please. Somebody's got to be disappointed, one or the other. When we think about death, I do want to say, here's the thing, right? We're afraid that evil mugger that comes along will take our life for what we have. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, Jesus taught, but cannot kill the soul. Isn't that interesting? Somebody come along and kill you, don't be afraid of him. Tell that to somebody on the street. Look at you, got two heads. Huh? Instead, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Wow. That's it. Who's that one? God. Now, but to you, fear of the Lord is the beginning of understanding. That fear of the Lord, we should not get close to Him or keep a distance from Him because He's not safe. Confusing a little bit. Or is it a fear of not getting close to Him and therefore not being safe? So if we're going to fear the Lord in the Old Testament sense, it may mean to fear rejecting Him, displeasing Him, being far from Him. The Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to Him for refuge, safety. God proves safe. The word safe comes from the same word as safe in our language. Security, safety, to be safe is to be saved. To be saved is to be safe and eternally secure. Jesus said, those who the Father's given me, they'll come to me, and I'll never reject them. Fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. People talk about fear of, I don't have a fear of failure. I have a fear of success. I said, same thing. What? I said, well, what happens if you succeed? Why are you afraid of that? Well, I have all kinds of expectations and responsibilities and pressure on me. Then what? I know I'm not going to be able to keep them perfectly. And you'll fail. Yeah. See, fear of success is fear of failure. Same thing. What's going to happen then? Oh, everybody will turn on me, I'll lose my job, I'll be out of work, I'll be out of money. Abandonment. Fear of being alone. One man told me, recovering from a sexual addiction. He said, I can't be alone. I said, what do you mean? I can't ever be alone. I said, well, you're gonna have to get over that one. Fear of the dark, right? Why are people afraid of the dark? We didn't know this out. Turn out the lights. They're alone. You can't see. You feel unsafe. Thunder and lightning. Might get hit by a lightning bolt. We think of God up there with lightning bolts. Somebody said something up there. There he is. Oh, let me get a little ahead of him. Boom. Got it. I'll never reject him. That's not natural to us because we've all been rejected. And it hurts. And we're gun shy. And where was God when we were young? And this came down on our heads. And we lost this person or that person. Or we were abused or bullied. I don't know if I can trust you. He didn't protect me then. So we talk about that a lot in my work. And the answer is he was there. But he put a limit on the evil. He put a limit on the suffering. Could he have allowed only that much so that right now you're here? You're sitting in a church, studying a bar this morning. I'll tell my residents, you're in a recovery center. You're safe. You're getting well. Could that be why God allowed it? And yet put a limit on it so it didn't destroy you, but brought you to this point in time, to this place in time. To get your ear, to get into your spirit, into your soul, to bring healing, and to rebuild trust, in fact. And when it comes down to it, we're going to look at the antidotes to fear. Lord, save us. We're going to drown as the disciples are on the boat. Like a casting crowns song. What am I so afraid of? Yeah. And they all, Lord, wake up! We're all going to die! And that's all of us, right? We're going to die. I'm going to die. We got to know that. We do. We have to face that. And we find the antidote then. So, one of the ways we conquer our fears is to play the tape forward and then find the end game and deal with that. The other is, the antidote to fear is, there's another short word. Begins with the same letter. Faith. Very good. It's common saying you can remember. The antidote to fear is faith. But the word translated faith in the original pisteuo has more really today as the idea of trust. So some of the newer translations use that. Because, we kind of say, I have faith the Eagles will win tonight. I think. We have a little evidence, but I'm not quite sure. You got to believe. Other people say, it doesn't matter what you believe, you got to believe in something. I say, you got to stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Well, you stand for the wrong thing. It's a little problematic. So, trust is another matter. So I had a guy come, he's coming off of methamphetamine addiction and sleeping, and, he made it through a couple days. He's got, he accused me of not wanting to help him, say I didn't say what you said I said. And I challenged him on his trust. I said, I didn't say I'm not going to help you. I challenged you on your trust. And I see you make a mistake in any way, shape, or form. Now you give me a reason to not trust you. I said, well, everybody can make a mistake. So let's not make that an excuse. do not give a person the opportunity to earn trust. So come to find, I'm at the end of the workday, the end of the week, Friday afternoon. I'm trying to get out of there. 4 o'clock turns into 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock turns into 6 o'clock. And this guy comes around. He's finished eating. He's not sleeping anymore. And he tells me where he's from. He asks me where I'm from. I ask him about who he knows. He asks me, do you know this person? Do you know that person? Yeah, he's from Fallcroft. I live in Colwyn. All of a sudden, he's chatting Kathy. I can't even get out of the office and get out of work, you know. He goes, I'm sorry, I'll let you get back to your work. I'm on my laptop, you know. So I have a talk with him. I'm building a little trust for him. It was worth working late past when I'm really able to get paid for that little overtime. Fine. I'm going to build trust with this guy finally. Get a little more work done. Somebody else comes in, has a need, a target issue, like they're going quick enough. Back comes the first guy again. Chatting Kathy back. He wants to talk a little more. Do you know this person? Do you know that person? No. A little more talking. His head cleared up a little. He's making an effort to give trust where earned. And in fact, as I had told him, I said, you prove trustworthy. I said to him the first time, now I'm going back before he turned into Chad Caddy, I said, let me ask you a question. Who can trust you? Because he challenged me about trust. He put his head went down. He said, no one. I said, nobody can trust you. Nobody should trust you. I said, you start changing that, and you'll be able to give trust. It works both ways. I said, because we project onto other people what's inside of us. If we know we're untrustworthy, nobody should trust us. Nobody on this planet should trust us. We're not going to be able to give trust to anybody either. Unconsciously, we project. Just like this projector, or this one here, projects onto that screen. We project onto other people what's inside us. You got to start changing that. Here he comes around and he starts telling about himself and trusting me with his answers. And as I listen to him, he gives me trust. We're earning trust and rewarding it. Some people won't give it, even when it's earned. You prove trustworthy to them, they still won't trust you. We see that in male-female relationships especially. When we control them, won't trust them. I went over to our friends one time, he handed me a newspaper. It was a little while ago. I'm the last person who reads a newspaper. But I read it sometimes online too. So, hold this up. I'm holding it up, and he takes a picture of me with his phone. I said, what the heck's going on here? He said, the girl I'm seeing, she don't believe, with you. She thinks I'm seeing another woman. The newspaper had the date. Proves that he's with me. I said, dude, what's going on? He goes, I can't break up with her now. I'm in too deep. I said, how long have you been seeing her? 3 weeks. Dude, you gotta get away from that. Wouldn't do it. 3 years later. So, wasted 3 years of his life. We're all going to die. So the problem with Jesus is you have little faith, that's little trust, right? You have little trust, that's the problem. You got up and rebuked the winds and what? Waves. There's one of my fears. And it was completely calm, and then they could be completely calm. He calms the storm in me, as the Casting Crowns song says. Oh, well now. All right. Yeah. I got more. Maybe. Oh. The thing about trust is we need evidence. It's funny, but the answer is usually counterintuitive. What's that mean? Against the way we naturally think. It's true about everything. in the spiritual realm, at least. The way things work. We want to redeem ourselves. Doesn't work. We want to atone for our own sins. Doesn't work. We want somebody to do something, we pressure them. Does that work? What do? They resist. They push back. They dig in their heels. We give up. Half the time they go do what we want them to do. We just don't think right. We got to save ourselves. We got to provide for ourselves. Worry, we think works. Whatever my tendency is to think, to do. I say, let me do the opposite. Like there was a Seinfeld episode, do the opposite of everything, And I might be right. I'm likely to be right. That's true with the spiritual realm. So the way to get close to God is to build trust, and the way to build trust with God is to build trust with people and get close to people. Oh man, you can't. Nah, never mind. Yeah, because God, we accuse Him of letting us down, not being there for us. If we got to work through that, though, right? Because in the end, we all, we can't say we don't have a case against God. Even Job, right? He said he had one till God shows up, and then we're speechless. Never mind. But people, different. We could take that in court, too. We can remember their words of arrows, darts, swords, their actions, their reason for our distrust. And Nash, I got this man named Saul. He's on Straight Street, and I want you to go to him and lay hands on him. Saul of Tarsus? Yeah, that's the one. No, you got the wrong one, Lord. They just say, I'm the wrong one to go to him. He's the wrong one. You don't mean him. I mean, yeah, him. What's Ananias thinking? He gets close to Saul of Tarsus. I'm going to die. It's a trick. He's a terrorist. He makes a living out of the fact putting Jesus' people to death. It's funny. So it's counterintuitive. So he goes to Saul. He doesn't trust him at first. But Saul becomes Paul, apostle to the Gentiles. The Lord had knocked him off his high horse. And he said, Saul, why do you persecute the church? I made a mistake of quoting the scripture, didn't I? Yeah, Jesus said, why do you persecute me? Because the body of Christ is Christ. And one of you is an ear, the epistle says. And one of you is a hand. The hand cannot say to the eye, I don't need you. Wow. Hands are useful. We do a lot with our hands. Try to get a broken hand, you can't use it. You find out quick, right? I don't like spraining my little toe, my pinky toe. Middle of the night, walk into a table leg. What's that like? I'm an egg. My pinky toe. Does just my pinky toe hurt? Only hurts. My brain, I'm in pain. I like my pinky toe. On one part. So each of you are members of one body together. Christ is the head. We're all jointly connected. The body of Christ. Separate a head from the body. What do you got? Decapitation. Death. We try to have a relationship with God without people. We do not have spiritual life, vitality. We're suffering. We're on life support. And so, when I finally began to bring my life story into the light of relationship, if we walk in the light as He is in the light, we have fellowship with God and with one another. He's not separating the two. It's the light of relationship, where you bring things out of the dark. So I processed my life story. My early development. As the incidents came back to my memory each week, so I met with a workbook partner and we went through New Life Ministries materials. Week after week we met, 9:30 Saturday mornings. For an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. Week after week turned into month after month. Turned into a year, turned into 2 years. Two funny things happened as a result. Me and my workbook partner. You can guess. One was we both got well. I remember my buddy's sister-in-law was abused. There was an incident where she got abused by her significant other, your husband, I forget, and he wanted to throw hands. I said, "What? You know that's not how we do." And he said, "You're right." And his behavior had changed. He was no longer about solving things with his fists. The second funny thing that happened was we got close to each other. In fact, became best friends. He was HIV positive, and the Lord took him home 6 years later. As I officiated his funeral, I talked about the final 6 years of his life and what a difference it was from the people that came that knew him before those 6 years to his funeral, many young people. We got close. We had built trust. We had earned trust, and we had given trust. And as I got close with another human being, someone I trusted, I had a little evidence, and we get further as we built more trust week by week. That's how we did it, just like the Lord's formula. He that's trustworthy with little will be trustworthy with what? Much. Opposite of the way we naturally think. I'm going to tell everybody everything right off the bat. See, are you all in with me or not? Like the other day, when a woman tells a guy all of her incarcerations, all of her addictions, all of her failures, and like all of her character defects. Now, you all in or not? Man, he's thinking, ain't going to be no second date. No way. Little by little. We don't like that. We want to hit the lottery. That's a phrase that repeats throughout Scripture. Little by little. We earn trust. We give it, we earn back. We're not out a lot then, if we do it that way. If you think about it, I gave a little, I lost, you didn't return back, you weren't trustworthy with it. I'm not out a lot. Right? Somebody asks, man, I'm in a hole. Can you help me out? How much you need? Just $2,000. We'll do it. And you'll be like, man, I don't have $2,000. Maybe I can get it together. I don't know. But it's different, right? We need $250. Hey, you need $250? Yes, I got it. What's the problem? Why you need it? And my friend told me his sister in another state calling. I need $150. How come? If you got a job, addiction. So somebody is in a hole. We look at why you need it. What's going on? What are you doing about the problem? Why you need it? I can't give you all of it. I'll give you $50. I'll give you $25. Little bit, and then we're out of it. It's not a big loss, right? Pattern happens when them say, no, can't do it. Little by little. Comes back to us. Stay on their feet, they pay us back. And we're doing good. We have a little trust, earn and give. I got the idea by this, getting close to this other person who accepted me when I told him my darkest secrets and didn't reject me, that the word of the Lord, of Jesus, I will never reject him. Those who come to me, I will never reject them. I got to realize this. I think that's true. So I felt safe with God. Now I thought I was good with God, just not people. Then I got close to people. Then I realized I wasn't telling God everything either. People say I want to get closer to God. What do they? Well, it's funny because why do we want to die? One of the things I think is, what's the main thing about heaven? Scriptures say the Lord is there. He's the sun. We don't even need a sun. He lights up the place 24/7. And we see him face to face, in person, just like I'm standing right here, right now. And you think, ooh, never mind. A little too close for comfort. Just like growing up, as I shared my work with partner. My mother, you know, I didn't know whether she was going to smother me with kisses. She was less of a mother and more of a smother. So she would control me and possess me. So I had to process all that. You know, I didn't know whether to pucker or duck. A hug was coming at me or a high heel shoe flying at my head. So I learned not to get close to other people. I had to work through that. And I did with my working partner. And then I got the idea I can do that with God. Maybe I can tell God my darkest secrets that I actually haven't been telling. My darkest thoughts. And how about my fears? And when I bring my fears to Him, my wrongful mindedness, attitudes, as soon as I tell Him, what happens? Lord, I know that's wrong. I cease that thought. I shelf that desire, that attitude. I put away. I got to think of it. Maybe I am really accepted in the beloved, with all my warts and all. Who's the beloved? Jesus. Ephesians 1. Why am I accepted in Christ? Because of the cross. It all comes back to the cross. We've got to visit there every day. It's the evidence for our trust. And if the prophets foretold the cross, maybe we can trust God's promises. Like, I'll never abandon you. He's given us the evidence in the cross. You know, it's funny, the cross vanishes oftentimes from sermons, conversations between believers. It didn't vanish from the epistles. It starts and ends with it. Our men's group, when I was a new believer, we met 5:30 a.m. Saturday mornings in this guy's house, and then there was this guy who was a construction foreman. This old guy drove a Ram pickup, you know. I was scared to be next to him. I don't want to be trained next to him. He just, this macho guy, quiet. And he would start right off every Saturday. Father, I thank you for the death, burial, and resurrection of your Son, Lord Jesus Christ, for my sin. It's because of the cross we're accepted by God in the blood. It's because of the cross God will never abandon us. It's because of the cross we have Him waiting for us when this life is over. And we're safe with Him. And He's proven it. And we can practice it now. He's safe to get close to. He doesn't bite. He comforts. He heals. He inhabits us and makes us who are useless to Him useful to God. Isn't that what we all long for deep down? We want to be useful to God. We want to serve God. But we've gotten in the way. We've been gun shy. And we want to have significance and purpose in life. And we keep tripping because we resist closeness out of fear. And if we give trust where it's earned to God by way of the cross, we can draw closer to Him and overcome our fears. After I did this, my workbook work, a couple of years past, I went bike riding with my nephews in the mountains. And we came at the top of this one mountain, this high tower. And we went looking at that tower, the first 15 rungs were missing. Just these like poles went up till there was more rungs. So I said, let's get up there. We shimmied up those poles till we got to our rungs. We could get over, and then we got on rungs. Then there's a hole at the top. You climb through the last rung, and then you're standing on a platform looking out over Happy Valley, or the scene below. And I noticed something I had thought about it, shimming up those poles, and then getting out, observing out on this little, this ancient-seeming platform, particle board. Wasn't kept up or anything. Just going to hold up. I had overcome fear of heights. Because I had done fear of closeness to people and fear of closeness to God, fear of abandonment, fear of death and being abandoned. It was shrinking, and my fear of heights shrank too. I'm still not afraid of heights. Get the fear that can overcome it. Could I go up on a ladder, 2 stories up in my house? I could never do that. Spiders and snakes, I don't know. Maybe it'd be a different story for you. I don't know. Maybe you might be able to, though. Let's pray. Thank you, Father, for giving us evidence to trust you. The cross that satisfies your anger over all of our imperfections. As we know so well how imperfect we are, we fear that you will give up on us. Because if we were you, we'd give up on us by now. And we do give up on ourselves so often. Thank you for not giving up on us and pulling us back, turning us around. Not quitting on us, working in our lives to get our ear and to be our listening ear. And for helping us to overcome our fear of, our distrust of you, of our future, of death and abandonment. That you accept us in the beloved, our Lord Jesus, by His death and resurrection. We give thanks today. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.